Okay, so writing, linking and sharing to build your brand. So linking articles, content, sharing articles, writing your own articles, where to get inspiration, and how to keep the articles socialising. So how many of you are active on LinkedIn and like people's posts that are in your industry, or contribute to other people's posts, or share posts, that sort of thing? Yep, pretty active. Okay, wonderful. How many of you actually write your own posts? Okay, yep.
Share and write.
Share and write.
Value to the content.
Yep. Okay. So then what I'll go to is where to find inspiration on writing. So for me, writing comes naturally, but sometimes writing doesn't come naturally to everyone. So I'm looking for an article in anything. So the last article I wrote, and I'll show you about this later, was about a contact of mine who reached out to me for help because she'd met with you might have seen it, she'd met with a recruitment agency who will remain nameless, and they treated her really badly, and she was a HR manager. And she came to me and she said, I sat through that interview being belittled and I walked out of there feeling like crap. And I went, why didn't you get up and walk out? And to me, that was normal. If anyone's treating me like that, I don't want to work for an organisation like that. So I would have got up and walked out, and I have done in the past. And I thought, I wonder if anyone else has got up and walked out of an interview. So all I did is got online and I went to my contacts. Has anyone ever walked out on an interview? And it went viral. And I'll show you how it's still going itself. But you will find content everywhere. So my partner works at a bank, and one of his friends, and this will be my next post, has said, and this is quite a controversial topic, so you have to be really careful when you're writing, that it's not your opinion, that it's your, asking a question or pondering or wondering about something. And he came home to me and said that one of his friends didn't get a job in the bank, and I asked him why. And he said, because he's not female. And that's what the recruiter said to him. So my next question is, have we gone too far with diversity? Are we, putting people, there's an article in just about everything, whether it be from sharing other people's articles or writing for yourself, but there's an article, you'll find it, it'll come to you. Has anyone got an article that they're thinking of potentially writing or that they want to share with the group?
So I write my own articles, but I haven't really started putting them up on LinkedIn yet.
Okay.
I just share them on Facebook or wherever.
Yep.
So what, I'm not familiar with, I assume it's similar to other social networks, but people comment, like, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But what's outside of that? What's different?
What's different?
Yeah.
It has to relate back to business, or it has to relate to a topic of interest for people. So for example, diversity I know is a big agenda, and if I go out there and say, have we gone too far in the right way, people are going to be interested in that. So it's like a newspaper article, but you have to be very careful, and anonymity is very important as well. So whereas Facebook, you're probably a little bit safer, unless you're paying for posts. LinkedIn, you're not as safe. So people can write some really awful things back to you, and I'll talk about that as well, and how to deal with that.
So, and let me know if you want to answer me later.
Yeah.
When you say they write awful things back, I personally couldn't care.
Yep.
But do you mean personally, or they put it out there in the comments and
they put it out there in the comments and everyone can see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the impact of that?
The impact of that is that you can ruin your own brand, really. If you write an article that is, the main key things, politics, race, gender, anything that isn't tailored to an audience that a newspaper wouldn't write, some newspapers wouldn't write, then I wouldn't put it out there.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example, and I'm happy to talk you through that as well, because that's what I do. So if you think you want to put an article up, send me a message. I'm happy to have a look at it and tell you if it's okay to go.
Yeah.
And also we'll talk a little bit on when something goes viral and what happens when people start hating on you.
Yeah.
Like recent example of cyberbullies getting bullied back now have rights and all of that sort of thing as well. It's a subject I probably wouldn't touch.
Yeah.
So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, because there's like a blurred line of like
There is a
being
blurred line.
transparent
Yes.
and honest versus just slandering somebody.
You can absolutely be transparent and honest as long as anonymity isn't affected,
Yeah.
so no one's exposed,
Uh-huh.
and you're not coming from a place of wanting to hurt someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Or a business or a group of people and I'll show you as
Cool.
well.
Yeah.
So, has anyone thought of an article yet that they might write on? Yep, no, yep. You're welcome to message me afterwards, and I'll have a look at it for you and tell you what I think. So there you go. Okay, measuring the success of your articles. So linking stories by connections is a good network, but it's limited. So posts are limited. So you do a post, it's limited to your network. You do an article, it actually goes on what's called Pulse. I don't know if you've heard of Pulse on LinkedIn, and you get a broader audience. So what you can do then when you write an article is you can tag it. So you can tag it in your line of area of expertise. So for example, when I was writing for Cotton On, I was targeting graduates, so I tagged graduate. And you get a much wider audience to read your material than you would with, say, a post. A post is a simple like opinion, what do you think, or a short snapshot of like tonight I'll go away and go, had a great time, thanks for coming everybody. I might even say how I met Nish. Yeah, that'll be a post. Whereas an article is more, not academic, but digs deeper into some issues, and people want to read it because they want to understand what's going on at the time. Does that make sense? So a post, quick snapshot, goes out there. Articles are an article that you would want your readers to write, or a blog.
So in LinkedIn, you type the entire article in there, or
Yeah.
is it a link from another?
You can
site?
do both. So you can link it back to your website, which I did a post earlier, which was then linked back to my website. But yes, you can do either. Doesn't matter. It's a pretty good tool actually.
Is Pulse subscription based, or is it
Pulse is LinkedIn's version of a newsletter, really. So what they do is they grab all the stories and then they send them out. So if you tag it graduates, for example, it'll go out to all people who are graduates, people who are in university, anyone who comes up in an SEO with graduate, or anyone of that area. So that's why tagging is really a really good tool on LinkedIn. When you're writing articles in particular, you can't do it when you're doing posts, unfortunately, yet. But I suspect you will be able to.
So on that note, so the articles probably get from other search engines?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, they get scraped. Yeah, they would.
And does it have to be long, or could it be just a paragraph or two?
It can be a paragraph or two, but if you look, I would say shorter better than longer, depending on who you're marketing it to, your article to. So if it's academics, for example, I wrote something, I can't remember what it was about. Oh yeah, my article was, is organisational culture is primitive, and I dug deep into that because that's what I studied. And people that came back to me were lecturers, were academics who really looked into what organisational culture was and what it meant. And some of the lecturers who taught me said, thank you, Katrina, for putting us out there, and your studies will go on and on. I'm finally glad to see you writing. So the more you make it academic, the the deeper you go into your article, and then you're referencing and that sort of thing.
What did you tag for that one, for that article?
That one was org development, org culture, like you can tag just about anything, HR, but it was the academics that picked up on it, really. Yeah. Well, my teachers will follow me anyway. They like to know that I'm still here.
Just on that, on writing articles and stuff, I think like other posting platforms like Medium, which is another big one.
Yeah.
I believe in the terms and conditions, and I may be wrong, when you write something on these websites, LinkedIn or Medium own the content.
Right.
So by that I mean, if you were to use the same post that you wrote on LinkedIn on your own personal blog, that would be going against the terms and conditions.
I doubt that LinkedIn would be that, I can't think of another word, but ballsy, brutal, because it encourages people to write. And particularly now with Microsoft, they might post it somewhere else, but they'll always refer back to the original post. But they wouldn't want to piss off the people that make LinkedIn, and that's us, you know. So I wouldn't expect you would have a legal case or anything like that. So yeah. No more questions? But I'll have questions at the end as well. Excellent. So here's an example of a post that went viral. So with your posts, I don't know if you know, but you can actually track how well it's doing and who's reading it. So this is a post. This is one that I told you about before in terms of walking out of an interview. I kept the anonymity of the person. I kept the anonymity of the company. I kept the anonymity of the company that I'd walked out on. And I asked a question. So I wanted to hear stories if other people had done it, and it went viral, and it's over now 200,000 views. So 200,000 people have seen my mug on their feed, which is good for branding, basically, because your mug is your brand. Your face is your brand. So it was just simple. I didn't expect it, but I got so many comments, and if you have a look at it, there's some amazing comments in there, and it's really started a conversation about where does the power lie. You know, the power does not lie with the recruiter. You have the power as a candidate, and that's what I wanted to generate, because a lot of candidates that I see that come to me for advice have been bashed down by other people, and I wanted to ask my contacts, and that was just to my contacts, you know, have you experienced this before? And so many had. And I'll talk to you about how you can dig deeper into your data and how you can use that for leads as well. Has someone here walked out on an interview in the past? There we go, there's one. Awesome. I don't encourage it, but if you're being belittled, you have the power as a candidate. And me being a candidate advocate as well, I wanted to know, you know, what's happening out there. You know, are people, are we that humble that will sit there and be belittled by somebody in an interview, in a job that, and some of the comments are hilarious. But when you do this sort of post and it does go viral, always reply, or always, what happened to me is hilarious actually. One guy in the States, I was in deep REM, because he was in the States, and he'd written on there, I'm going to take down my post now because you clearly don't care about what I have to say. I said, I'm sorry, I was asleep, I'm in Australia, and that's why I haven't replied to you. And then what happened is people started going after him, like the sort of tribal, you can't say that about Katrina, you know, she can't respond to everybody. And I'm like, oh, this is getting out of hand. So they can get out of hand, and everyone was like, no, how can she can't respond to everything. And then my face got put up everywhere, and so you have to be really careful when that happens, that you first of all apologise for not getting back to them, and say I was asleep. The time in America is very different to the time here. So yeah, that you have to own it and you have to respond to it, just like you would any marketing campaign to anyone. Like what they say, but if you want to keep it going, like what people have said. So you'll see I've liked that one there. They've got 7 likes, so that means 7 other people have liked it. That means that this post is going everywhere. So, and it's still going. It's got a life of its own, and I have to keep an eye on it to make sure there's nothing bad on there, just so that my brand isn't affected.
So if you have, just say in 2 months' time, it quietens down and you want
Hopefully.
to reinvigorate it, if you add another comment on there, does that bring it
Yes,
back
it
up?
does.
It does.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I say if you want to keep it going naturally, and I make sure that I reply to everyone who's made a comment, or I'll make a comment back to say well done, or that is hilarious, I can't believe you went through that. And they like to hear from the poster. It's like you're a pseudo famous person that, you know, you've become this thing in their mind, and you've reached so many people that they want to hear from you. You know, they want to hear, oh, she liked my comment. You know, I love it when someone likes my comment that I've said, or says, you know, I saw your comment on M&M. You know, it's like, oh, someone saw that.
Your audience might be different though, because
Yes.
it's more social focused. Where I think, you know, that my audience, they're stalkers. They really are. They watch and they look, and I can tell.
I've had
you know,
stalkers,
but
don't
I can tell
worry.
from the, like, you know, have however many, 1,500 views.
Oh, I had a
posts.
stalker from that as well, who just wrote hot.
Right. But at least they commented, they put themselves out there, whereas a lot of my audience, I can tell that they're reading my posts,
Yeah.
but they don't like or they don't comment.
Yes, they're afraid that
yeah,
they'll be,
They
yeah.
just don't want to put themselves out there.
Yeah,
so,
interesting.
You know, it really does vary probably by...
Yeah, I did not expect that, and it's grown. So, yeah. So that's a post, that's not an article.
Yeah,
Yes.
because of this number of views have increased so much.
Yep.
You got more connection.
Yeah, so what I noticed is once this went, and I'll dig deeper into the data to show you. Once this went, I noticed being like, I'd get 20 people wanting to connect with me a day, whereas it's normally 5 or 6. So I noticed that shot up, and I also got a client out of it. So someone who'd seen the post, then had a look on my profile and saw I did career coaching, who's an executive, and said, can you do my LinkedIn profile for me? So not bad for a question that went out there. And that's why I say, you know, it costs you nothing, and it's marketing for your own brand.
So you accept all the connections.
Pardon?
Do you accept all the connections?
I accept most connections, unless, which happens, and I'm sure particularly women have seen this, they're trying to hit on you. And you can spot it a mile away, just by their photo a lot of the time. Either that or, yeah, I do. Or in my last role, I was a sourcing manager, so people thought that I was in procurement. So I changed my title to talent sourcing manager because I was getting contacted by everyone in China, everyone in Pakistan to sell me goods. And that is not the audience I was after. So I had to change my tactic there. How are we going for time?
It's just after 7.
Okay, cool, excellent. Alrighty, so that's just a high level. So what you can do is when you do a post, you can jump on your post and then click where I have clicked down here. And then you can see that's just a snapshot, but how many likes, how many have shared, and so 223 likes when I snapped this, 177 comments, and then you can see later on how many people have shared it and that sort of thing, and you can dig deeper as well if you want to use it for leads into where your audience is, which I'll go into. Okay, so here's digging deeper. So this is just on my post. So what I did is I dug deeper. So when you click on another bit, it says show more. So then you can say, okay, so 9,000 people had the title salesperson, but what I was interested in is a lot of people who viewed it were CEO or director level. Recruiters, obviously, because that's the industry I was in, HR, and what companies they work in as well. from Dell. I didn't expect that. And you can see here where your audience, your biggest audience is from Melbourne. I couldn't get data on that. But look at that. Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, Greater Minneapolis in the US, which I was really surprised. And they've been really engaged throughout this whole thing, and they're not the audience I was targeting, but that's what happens when something goes viral.